Hey everyone, glad you could join us for this deep dive. We're going straight to the heart of Kinshasa's music scene today.
Yeah, it's really something special.
We're diving into the world of Musique Populaire de la Révolution, MPR for short. If you haven't heard of them, get ready to be blown away.
They blend hip hop with these really vibrant Congolese styles, ndombolo, rumba, soukous. It's a fusion that'll get you moving.
Oh yeah, I was listening earlier, and it's definitely got a beat. So before we go any further, let's back up a bit. Who is MPR? Where do they come from?
Okay, so picture Kinshasa, 2016. This group of artists, they get together in the Matet commune, originally called themselves Resistance Bantus, RB.
Resistance Bantus. It's got a ring to it.
Right, but they didn't stick with that for long. They became Musique Populaire de la Révolution, MPR.
MPR. That's a powerful name.
Yeah.
What's the story there?
Well, it directly references the Mouvement Populaire de la Révolution, Zaire's sole political party during the 70s and 80s under Mobutu Sese Seko.
Wow, I'm already sensing some historical weight behind the name.
Absolutely. Mobutu used the name, the party, to consolidate his power. But it also represents a complex period of Congolese history. NPR, they're tapping into that, reclaiming it, giving it new meaning for a new generation.
Okay, so the name's loaded, but what about the music? Does it reflect those historical roots too?
100%. Their lyrics are all about Kinshasa, the DRC, the realities of life there, and they don't shy away from social commentary. Remember those musical styles we talked about? They blend it all together. Take Ndombolo, for example. It's super high energy, driven by drums, lots of call and response vocals.
I can only imagine. Sounds pretty infectious.
Oh, it is. And then you layer in the rumba. It's like deeply ingrained in Congolese identity, romantic, nostalgic, but it also carries this weight of history, colonial past, the fight for independence.
Wow, it's like each genre has its own story to tell.
Exactly. And then for that extra burst of energy, you've got soukous. Super fast-paced, guitar-driven. It's electric.
It sounds like a pretty incredible mix. I'm curious, how does a band even go about fusing all those styles together and make it sound cohesive? Like, what's their creative process like?
It's organic. They're not overthinking it. It's Kinshasa pouring out of them their influences, their lives, like a conversation between the past and the present through music.
And like any good conversation, it's not always easy.
Yeah.
This is where the censorship thing comes in. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely not a simple conversation. In 2022, they put out this track, Nini to Salite.
Which translates to,
What haven't we done?
yeah.
It's a straight-up critique of the DRC's political scene. Corruption, inequality, the struggles people face every day, they lay it all out there.
And the government wasn't too happy about that, I'm guessing.
You could say that. They slapped a ban on the song nationwide, claimed it was procedural, but a lot of people saw it as silencing dissent, pure and simple. An attack on NPR's right to speak their minds.
Which is a whole other conversation about Congolese music.
Right.
It's always been about more than just the music. There's this history of social commentary.
For sure. It reflects what's happening in the country. Even going back to rumba during colonial times, it was an outlet, a way for Congolese people to express their identity, their hopes, everything. NPR's tapping into that, but with a modern twist, that hip-hop edge.
So they're carrying the torch, speaking truth to power through music. And that censorship backfired, didn't it? It became a global news story.
Huge time. News, artists, human rights groups, everyone was talking about it, the Streisand effect in action. By trying to shut them down, the authorities just made NPR's message louder, more people heard it.
Wild how that works. Did the ban ever get lifted?
It did eventually, though. The hows and whys are a bit murky. But it raises a big question. Where's the line between artistic freedom and government control? It's a tough one, especially in a place like the DRC with its political instability.
And NPR's right there, navigating that tension.
Mm-hmm.
They're musicians, but they're also cultural commentators, almost activists by default, giving us a glimpse into a world we usually only see in headlines.
Absolutely. Daily life in Kinshasa, the struggles, the joys, it's all there in their music. They're sharing a vibrant culture that often gets overlooked or misunderstood, and they're doing it by blending genres, crossing language barriers. It's pretty powerful stuff.
It really is. Okay, so tough question time. Someone's listening to this, they're intrigued. Where did they even start with NPR's music? Any recommendations?
Their EP Siseko is a good jumping off point, shows their range really well from those high-energy Ndombolo tracks to some smoother, more melodic ones with that rumba vibe.
Nice, something for everyone.
Right. But if you want to hear the song that sparked the whole controversy, Nini to Salite is essential listening. You might not understand the words, they mainly sing in Lingala, but you'll feel the emotion, the message comes through.
I'm adding it to my list right now. What about L'Aubela y Français? That title really jumps out.
Yeah. It means tell 'em in French. It's about the legacy of colonialism, how language equals power. French is still an official language there, so there's this irony. To be heard, to get ahead, you often have to use the colonizer's language. It's subtle, but it speaks volumes about who has a voice and who gets ignored.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. They're not just pushing musical boundaries. They're challenging the status quo, getting people talking about important issues.
Yeah.
And so bigger than just NPR, right? Using music to make a statement, get people thinking, that's not new.
Definitely not. Music's always been an outlet, a way to process what's happening, express hopes and frustrations. Look at all the social movements that had music at their core.
Totally. So many examples.
Fela Kuti, Bob Marley, Public Enemy, just to name a few. NPR is part of that lineage. Artists who get it, who know music can cross borders, connect us to experiences we'd never have on our own.
It's like a universal language in a way. You don't always need to get the words to feel the impact.
Exactly. And that's a big part of what makes NPR so interesting. They draw you in with the rhythms, the energy, but then there's this depth, something to chew on, makes you see the world differently.
So for someone who just finished listening to this, maybe they're just discovering NPR, what do you hope they walk away with? What's the key takeaway?
I want them to see that music can be a portal. It can transport you to another place, another time, another perspective. NPR's music, it's not just about listening for fun. It's about opening your ears to a city, a culture, a generation that's trying to make itself heard. And it's about the power of art to make you think, to inspire, to connect us in ways we never thought possible.
It's about recognizing that even though their stories rooted in Kinshasa, there's something universal there, something we can all connect with.
Exactly. It reminds us that even when people try to silence others, art finds a way. It breaks down walls, crosses borders, and shows us how powerful human expression can be.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Kinshasa's musical revolutionaries, one last thought.
Yeah.
As you listen to NPR, and I really recommend you do think about this, how does their music, even if you don't understand the language, how does it connect you to their world, their story?
That's the magic of music, right? It goes beyond words, beyond borders. It speaks to something deeper.
It really does. And on that note, that's a wrap on another deep dive. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and until next time, stay curious.